It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
And here we go. Welcome into another edition of Rothman and Ice. I'm Matty Ice, and to my right is Ryan Baker. Sitting across from me is our guy CB doing his thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to Rothman and Ice. Bake, usually I say to my left. I'm
thrown off a little bit here.
A fill-in host, but I decided to hop in the one chair, the official one chair today, and I feel out of whack right now, but we're going to make it happen. You know the feeling, I don't know if you've ever had the feeling of when you're in your own car and someone else is driving your car, and just that is a totally different vibe. That's how I'm feeling right now, but it's good to see you, man, and I'm looking forward to today and cranking out some good conversations about sports and all the other nonsense we get into. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? I mean, I love this. Branching out, expanding our horizons here.
We're here.
I'm going to have to throw the dumbbell over to you, though, on the other side during the break, or I'm going to have to do the arm curls, keep up over here.
You know what? Because the grind don't stop. The grind doesn't ever stop. For those that don't know, during the break, I'm always doing, some type of workout because I got, the Apple Watch. You got to close the rings every day. It's like a mental thing, right? You got to get your steps in.
I don't know about that.
Close the rings. Yeah, there's got you can set up your calorie count, your minute count for how long you want to work out. And I try to get, 12 hours of standing in. And right now I'm at about 6. So I'm halfway home. And I like to get a little workout in while I'm working.
Dude, I got to tell you that, and maybe I should hit the curls over here today because every time I do a show with you, I feel like it's 2010, 2011 all over again, and we're running the mean streets of Whitehall out at the broadcasting school. I mean, it's good feelings. It takes me back to my youth.
I love it, man. It's good to have you in here, CB. How you feeling? Have you come down off the high yet? Have you come down off one of the biggest moments in your life? How's that connecting in your world right now?
No, we're still going through the congrats and thank you stage, especially around here in the office right now. But no, give me another day or two.
Okay.
We'll get used to it.
Sounds good. Speaking of coming a day or two, we got some cool stuff coming at you on our airwaves here in a couple of days, but they're going to lay out the menu first before I let you know about that. Today on our show, we're going to have James Rapine on Locked On Bengals, get a good feel of what's going on in the early portion of training camp down in the jungle. 2:33, Jeff Ellis from Locked On Guardians will hop on to talk about the trade the Guardians made yesterday. We got the MLB trade deadline that will hit the finish line today, so that'll be a fun conversation with him. And just a reminder, if you ever miss anything throughout our show, wherever you get your podcast, type in Rothman and Ice. All of our interviews, all of our segments, everything we do from noon to 3 will be waiting there for you. And don't forget to subscribe to the Rothman and Ice podcast as well. Huge week in Ohio. And it's going to start on Thursday right here on The Fan because we're taking some of our shows on the road over to the Woody because Ohio State, they're going to start camp on Thursday. So here's what we got for you. On Thursday and Friday of this week, both Morning Juice and Bishop and Friends will be over at Buckeye football practice. Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. will be Fan Sports Saturday with our guy Eric Reeser E. and Tyvis Powell, the self-proclaimed People's Champ. And then on Sunday, August 4th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. will be Fan Sports Sunday with Tito and Dane Sanzenbacher. So that's a huge lineup that we got going on this weekend. It's going to start on Thursday, babe. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, cool stuff to be out there and see what's going on live at the Woody as Ohio State starts up. The ramp up to football season. Football season's here, man. I got back from vacation, and it was full-on football mode with working with the high school stuff, getting our schedule ready here for the Fan. We've just about got the first 5 games complete now, so that's pretty cool.
You going out to my neck of the woods?
We are a couple times. So first four of the week, first 4 games are set. We should have an announcement on that pretty soon.
Hey.
But football season is here.
It is here,
whether we like it or not, and I know we love it.
It's really whether AR likes it or not, because I'm always trying to push this on AR, and he's always trying to kick the can down the road, and I'm like, no. It's already here, big dog. You know my rule on the show. If you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, when you see the show, Big Brother pop up on TV, it is time for football season. That's going to carry over into football, and we're going to be off and running. You're a wrestling fan. I'm
Yeah.
a wrestling fan. Speaking of big things popping off this week in our wonderful state of Ohio, on Saturday it's SummerSlam. Saturday is SummerSlam, and I'm looking for one of two things. Either this.
Acknowledge me.
Or this. We got a big show coming to Cleveland Brown Stadium, and maybe one of those two men will pop up. My tribal chief, CB's tribal chief, Roman Reigns. We acknowledge him on this show, or maybe Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I did hear that The Rock's movie schedule is wrapped.
It's over.
And he's free.
Okay.
He's free to return.
The final boss may be back.
I did hear. I'm so disappointed, by the way, that we are not heading up there.
I know. It's
Saturday
gonna be
night.
Between our show not being able to go to Buckeye football practice and me and you not being at SummerSlam, there's a heavy amount of FOMO going on. We're gonna enjoy that, no doubt, and happy for Cleveland, the city, because that's gonna bring in some good revenue and all that. That's gonna be cool.
I feel like
to
we
see.
dropped the ball on this.
We did, because we had plenty
dropped
of time.
the ball on
yeah, we
this.
did. There's no denying that whatsoever. And then Saturday, I know CB's fired up for what's going to happen at the Shoe between Manchester and Chelsea. So that's going to be awesome for all the big soccer fans in our wonderful city as well. So we had some interesting Big Ten news come out yesterday when we got out of here that involves Michigan.
Wow.
We were all smack dab in the middle of their saga last year with Connor Stallions and the sign stealing and just all of that. And we talked about it for weeks and weeks and weeks throughout the season. We know how it ended. They went on to win the national championship. And we've all been in a wait and see mode when it comes to what type of punishments could be coming their way. So we found out, and I'll read the press release here that says, a probe led by the NCAA could result in the Michigan football program receiving a notice of allegations as soon as this week, and the result may include an attempt to ban the Wolverines from playing in the postseason for up to 2 years, according to one of the sources at thewolverine.com. There's a belief that the NCAA will try to make an example of Michigan stemming from an opinion inside the body that the school was, quote, thumbing its nose at the NCAA during the investigation. So, Bake, how does that land for you when you hear about a potential postseason ban for up to 2 years based off of everything that we talked about and I guess the evidence that was out there last year? How do you feel about that punishment that could be coming their way?
I'm so torn on this because Michigan has won 3 straight Big Ten championships. They've beat the Buckeyes 3 straight times. They won the national championship last year. You've got to do something, right? But you're punishing, and some of the coaches are still the same, but you're punishing a coaching staff and a team and players that had nothing to do with that. Like, there was enough evidence last year that they could have jumped in and said no. The Big Ten could have jumped in and said no. Now, we know they weren't going to do that because the Big Ten made a lot of money off of Michigan participating in the CFP and winning the national championship. On the same hand, if you would have last year banned them from the postseason, those players, they probably knew, but they weren't involved in it. It was their coaching staff that did it. So I'm so torn on this. I don't know how it should go. A postseason ban for a year or two, I think that's totally fair. And guess what? If these players don't like it, they can leave. They can transfer. They can go somewhere else and play.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's where my mind went is if this ruling does come down and it's officially stamped that they're not going to be able to participate in any postseason action for a year or two, whatever that is going to look like, where does their recruiting go? It was always a big-time question for me anyway when Harbaugh is left because, let's face it, Sharon Moore's he's an unknown around the college football world to a lot of these recruits. His sample size is very, very small. So I think right now what they can, the feather in their cap is obviously their brand and what they did last year winning it all. But you look at where they're at in the 2024 cycle and 2025 cycle of recruiting, they're 16th in 2024 and they're 13th in 2025. If this ruling does come down, does that start to slide? But my opinion when it comes to the punishment is I was always in the mindset of, I think one of the strongest ways you can crack a program is to remove scholarships. Now, I don't know how many or what exact number that looks like, But when you're talking about really trying to get after a program and, let's be honest, kind of hurt their football program for what they did and cutting corners in the minds of a lot of people, that to me was one way to do that. So this isn't completely put to bed yet, but if you're telling Michigan that they can't participate in I know the New Year's Six Bowl is now kind of the bowls are now baked into the new bracket of the CFP, but if it's just some, discriminate weak bowl game, I feel like if you're Michigan, you'll take that all day long because you're just going to point at the trophy that you have up there in the form of a 2024 national championship.
You're right, but I was thinking about this earlier because driving in, I heard Chops and Tim May getting into a pretty, I don't know if it was heated, but emotions were raised discussion on this.
I did not hear that.
Because Chops is definitely against the NCAA and he doesn't think it's fair to these players. I think a postseason ban might hurt a school more nowadays than it did in the past because before you didn't have the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Now if these kids want to leave or maybe they were thinking of coming to Michigan from the transfer portal, it may take them out of the running now.
Yeah.
So if they're get a 2-year postseason ban, not only will that recruiting number, I believe, drop, but you are going to lose players that you were going to get that were key or players that you already have on your roster because they're going to go and they're going to want to have a shot at the postseason at the CFP. Mm-hmm. I think this recruiting or this postseason ban might hurt Michigan big time, even more than a scholarship reduction because you're going to fill those scholarships with people that have dreamed of playing at Michigan, but they're probably not going to be the caliber of player that you had or you would get.
Yeah, no doubt. I hear you. It's a good point, and this will be cranked up even more when we get the official ruling, but also when Connor Steigens, this episode that he's doing on Netflix,
I can't believe this is coming before the season.
The week of week 1. So their first game is August 31st against Fresno State. This episode on Netflix is going to air the 27th of August, and it'll be interesting to see how much he really digs in on. Was it me, or do some other people really need to grab a hold of, some of their responsibilities and what they did to kind of maybe push me in this direction to get this thing done the way that we did. So that's going to be fascinating. The first week of college football when Netflix drops that Connor Steigens episode there. So week 1 for Michigan, Fresno State, and then they get it cranked up right away, Vic, because they host the Texas Longhorns, who a lot of people think can win a national championship in week 2, and then they host USC in week 4. So 5 straight home games for them, but 2 of those are fairly big challenges for Sharon Moore and the new look Michigan Wolverines. So there's the latest when it comes to Connor Steigens and a potential punishment coming up to Ann Arbor in the Big Ten. Coming up next, could the Bengals still be a playoff team without Jamar Chase? One of the top NFL analysts weighed in on that. You'll hear it, and we'll let you know if we agree. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play, from the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar.
Whether it's a walk-off granny or a base hit to center field, whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 and older, must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, have you heard about Tim Hortons' new happy hour? Get 50% off summer menu drinks after 2 p.m., Monday to Thursday.
50% off?
Yeah. Try the new Cocoa Caramel Crunch Iced Cap, Butter Pecan Cold Brew, Mango Frozen Lemonade, Solar Splash Tim's Boost, and Berry Cherry Refresher.
There are so many options. That's really good.
Discover a new favorite with Tim's Summer Menu and enjoy 50% off during happy hour. Only at Tim's. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants. Terms apply.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV? Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
Hey, Buckeye fans, ready for the chance to win one of 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences? As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. We're talking tickets, sideline passes, a trip for two to the Oregon game, and exclusive access to the Ryan Day Coaches Show. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 winners. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Hey, Ohio! Don't miss the Ohio State Fair July 24th through August 4th.
With fair favorites like the butter cow sculpture, livestock animals,
Endless shopping,
delicious fair food,
free live music, thrilling rides and games,
competitions, and so much more.
Enjoy all that the Ohio State Fair has to offer now through Sunday, August 4th.
Tickets on sale at the gate or at ohiostatefair.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Heading into the afternoon hours, temperatures will be approaching that 90-degree mark. We'll be looking at sunny skies later on today. Going into tomorrow, we are looking at showers and thunderstorms with a high around 90. And then going into Thursday, we'll be looking at more showers and storms with a high around 92. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with a look at your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's Rothman and Ice. I'm Matty Ice. Got Ryan Baker in the house today for ARCB's back, doing his thing on the board. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Tuesday. We are inching closer and closer to football season. Buckeye football practice. They will start their camp on Thursday. The Fan will be there in the building. Morning Juice, Bishop and Friends, a whole bunch of other good programming coming your way throughout the week. Bake, I'm over the humidity. When we talk about football, what I love is when we get into, right around 70 and into the mid 60s. Like, that's the perfect time of year for me. When the weather starts to turn just a little bit, you get kind of the hot chocolate vibes going, the sweet potato pie, the pumpkin pie vibes going. Like, I'm ready for it. I'm over the humidity. I'm out.
I mean, you say that, but you're in here in a coat.
Because it's
for a sweatshirt every day.
It's freezing. I feel like I'm north of the wall hanging out with the Wildlings and the Night King in here. It's always cold up here.
I could take it a little cooler, honestly,
I don't know how
quite frankly. But you already know I was built for San Diego, not Texas.
You know what? My bank account is not built for San Diego, but I'm built for San Diego. It's crazy, too, like when you watch, I don't know, like a San Francisco Giants game or whatever, and it's like early June. and they're out there in jackets and hoodies, I'm like, that's where I need to be.
Give me the shorts and the waffle is what I like to call them. The
Oh.
long sleeve Henleys. Almost look like the long sleeve underwear or something. Give me those. That's what I want all year.
Are you a waffle or pancake or French toast guy?
I'm not really a French toast guy. I love pancakes and waffles. I like waffles maybe a little better. You can put some peanut butter on there. It gets down in the crevices.
I'm not mad at that. French toast is definitely third for me.
Same.
On that list. Like when you got to dress it up with a whole bunch of powdered sugar, that kind of tells me everything I need to know about French toast. But yeah, pancakes are number one. You get the crispy edges going with the pancakes. That is always a great time, right?
My dad, big French toast guy. Me, not so much.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm absolutely out. Let's go down to Cincinnati because the Bengals are gearing up for what could be a special season, but they've got some funky stuff going on in the form of two different things. They've got some injuries already popping off, which was some obviously what you don't want to see. And then they've got this massive holdout going on with Jamar Chase because he's been there, but he's not doing much. He's off to the side, catching some footballs every once in a while, but it looks like when they go into team drills, he is not participating in any of that. And I don't blame him at all with what he's due to make this year. It's right around $5 million. His base salary is right around $1.5 to $2 million. And we know he's worth much more than that. And speaking of the Bengals, bottom of the hour, we'll talk to James Rapine from Locked On Bengals about all of this stuff. But we know, I think there's a lot of people that feel like if the Bengals are whole and they have their big three in Higgins, Chase, and Burrow, that can take them a very long way. We've seen that for the last few years or going back to a couple years where, they were a play or two away from winning the Super Bowl until Aaron Donald just went complete juggernaut mode and wrecked the pocket there, and Joey B couldn't find Jamar Chase. But we know what they're capable of. But are they capable of making it to the postseason, let's say, if Jamar Chase decides to hold out for an extended period of time? ESPN NFL analyst Ryan Clark weighed in on this.
It was a team that doesn't make playoffs. And now T. Higgins is a guy that has shown that he could be a number one wide receiver, but it was the combination of the two that made them so difficult to stop. And you also had to remember that Tyler Boyd, who was a great slot receiver and their number 3 option, is now with the Tennessee Titans. And so the synergy, the chemistry, the production that we've seen from Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow is like none other that we've seen in the league on a current roster. And so for these two people to be together is extremely important for the success of the Cincinnati Bengals. And even when Joe was struggling to move last year with the injured calf, he could always find a way to get the ball in Jamar's hands and get something big for the offense. So I think it's all important that he be on the field week 1 for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bake, what's your thoughts on how this front office has handled the Jamar contract situation?
I mean, it's going to get done. So I guess I really haven't thought about how they've handled it. They're going to make it happen. I mean, I don't know. Is Jamar upset? If he's upset, then they have an issue. But I think all of them. I think both sides know this is going to get done regardless, one way or the other. I think Chase has such a good relationship with Joe that he's not going to miss any game time. So, and they have such a good rapport with each other, they don't need the practice time together, I don't believe. So I think this is all okay.
When I hear you say it's going to get done, I agree. My question is, when is that going to show itself and come full circle in the form of we officially got a contract done? Because when Mike Brown talked about this, he didn't seem like he was in any rush to figure this thing out. And he also put it out there on record that he's in no rush or doesn't like to do deals during the season. And so if I'm Jamar Chase, I have no reason to step on the field until I get a new deal. And so while you're right in saying, their relationship is really good and these guys have been electric since we saw them at LSU, and that was one of the craziest, in a good way, offenses we've ever seen at the college level, if I'm Jamar Chase right now, I got to get mine. And with the way that the market has exploded at the wide receiver position, I can't take the risk. So the front office is doing front office things. They're looking at his contract and they're saying, well, we have you for this one more year before we really got to make something happen. But they have to know in their minds that that's severely underpaid. I mean, you're talking almost $30 million he's that underpaid, I think. When you look at, he could get $33 to $35 million, and his base salary is 1.5. No, I'm sorry. I'm not stepping on the field until there's a deal done. And if that's going to have to spill into the regular season, then so be it.
But here's the thing, though, with Jamar. He's not going to get paid any more this year, regardless of it. You know, it's all going to be an extension. He's not going to get any more this season. He's going to get his money no matter what, whether it's from the Bengals or someone else. So is it really that? I mean, I don't know. I guess this is the leverage that the players have, but he's going to get paid no matter what.
The other issue is, from the front office's side, the price of the brick is only going to go up.
That's the thing. If you're the front office, you should have wanted to get in front of this now, because CD, you know, we've seen all of these guys sign.
Yes.
It's only going to get worse.
I agree. So listen, I don't understand what they're doing. I just think, and the other thing is, it's a proven commodity. You know that this guy is one of the best in the league. That's not going to change when you hit him with the money. I mean, last year with the mess that they had with Joey B's injuries, with Jake Browning having to play some games, this guy was still so effective. I mean, he was 10th in the league in yards after catch last year with all the focus that had come his way. So he is one of the best. There's no doubt about it. And when Ryan Clark says that there absolutely wouldn't be a playoff team without Jamar Chase, I have to agree with him, because it's kind of obvious, but it's also shines a light on how good the AFC has become as well.
And I disagree with that 1,000%. And I disagree with that because I think Joe Burrow is that darn good. I also think T. Higgins is that darn good. I think as long as you have a healthy Joe Burrow, I think you're totally fine if you're the Bengals.
That's real. But I also think when you zoom out from not only how good the North is, you've got, the Houston Texans and the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets and these teams that have made the AFC a little bit more crowded. So if you're telling me right now that Jamar Chase would not play the entire year, my bet would be that they wouldn't make the postseason.
Well, we thought the Kansas City Chiefs would take a step back without Tyreek Hill, and they haven't at all.
That's a different beast, though, out there. That's a different beast when you talk about their three-headed monster with head coach and how elite their defense is. And the Bengals' defense has slipped a little bit. So your confidence in Joe Burrow, justified. But I just think my take is not how bad they would be or they would fall, completely go south. It's my respect for what I think this conference has turned into since they went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. We'll get James Rapine, his take next on all of this. He's from Locked On Bengals. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
It's shaping up to be one of the hottest summers on record, Columbus, which means your AC unit is being put to the test. With thousands of perfect Google reviews, your cooling experts at Sears Heating and Cooling will ensure your comfort just as we have the last 74 summers. Whether your AC unit is in need of maintenance, repair, or replacement, your Sears cooling team will get the job done right the first time at the best possible price. That's right, from Bexley to Sunbury, enjoy the local pricing advantage of doing business with your neighbors at Sears. SearsHeatingCooling.com.
Know how. Know now. Be in the know now with the free 10 TV app. News now. Weather now. Traffic right now. Alerts before you know and go. Breaking news, community events, your favorite teams, and their live scores. Anything you want to know now. Now you know how to know everything right now. And we love knowing you know. Stay in the know with the 10 TV app. Download it for free right now.
Hey, it's Anthony here, and over the years, I've tried to stay in the fight, keep playing, but every now and then, something gets me, shoulder pain, a knee tweak, a recent bout of golfer's elbow. When the weekend warrior injuries happen, the first call I make is to the specialists at Orthopedic One. I don't mess around. I want the #1 ranked place for orthopedics in Ohio. They've earned the right to be called Central Ohio's most trusted team of orthopedic experts. Get started at orthopedic1.com. No referral needed, but if you want one, I got you.
It's child's play to donate your car, truck, RV, or boat to Ronald McDonald House Charities of Central Ohio. They'll pick it up free of charge, steer you through the paperwork, and a hefty tax deduction rolls your way. as you help provide a home away from home for families of seriously ill hospitalized children. For more information about donating your vehicle to Ronald McDonald House Charities, visit rmhc-centralohio.org or call 614-CARS-HELP. That's 614-CARS-HELP.
Hello, loyal listener. Make sure to spend your summer with the Fan. Are you going on a road trip? Don't suffer through the bad playlists and hillbilly radio stations. Download the Fan app and take us with you. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Are your feet stopping you from being active and making it difficult to get healthier? Trade in your bad feet and start the new year with good feet and get healthy in 2024. Wouldn't it be nice to work, walk, and play pain-free again?
This is the White Castle Call of the Crave, and it's telling you to come in now for 10 cheese sliders for just $7.99. 10 cheese sliders for just $7.99. Boom! White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only, tax not included.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. I was in my Lexus the other day. It was hot as hell, but I was so thankful for my ventilated seats. I'm not saying that's why you should buy one. It's just very nice. Right now at Jermaine Lexus, it's the Golden Opportunity Sales Event with lease payments as low as $499 a month and 3.99% financing on select models. Get this, the RZ is 0%. I have been a Jermaine customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Jermaine Lexus, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
A perfect afternoon parlay. This is Rothman and Ice.
Welcome back in. Matty Ice, Ryan Baker, chopping it up with you on a Tuesday. Going to use the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline right now. Bring on one of our favorites. James Rapine, Locked On Bengals, does a great job covering the Cincinnati Bengals. James, happy football season. Training camp is rolling. How you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling great. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks so much for asking. Well, we were reacting to a clip from Ryan Clark on ESPN before we brought you on, and he just talked about a little bit of the Jamar Chase situation, and his expectations would be lower if he, doesn't play a whole bunch of games or for whatever reason doesn't play the entire season if this contract situation doesn't figure itself out. James, what are your thoughts on how the front office has gone about taking care of, or I guess not really taking care of right now, one of the best players in the league?
Well, I think we haven't gotten there yet, right? I still think they could. And that's what's interesting here is Jamar feels pretty dug in. We were confident pretty much from day one of training camp when he wasn't practicing that it was a hold-in. And when we got to day 2 and day 3, it became very clear. And so will Jamar blink? Is he willing to play his 4th season on a rookie deal? By the way, there is precedent for that. Justin Jefferson did it last year. Ended up getting hurt for the Vikings. It didn't impact him. He was able to get paid anyway this offseason. But it does feel like Jamar views this, and we don't know. That's the other interesting part here, or hard part, is Jamar hasn't talked to us, but Justin Jefferson has kind of set the wide receiver market. So maybe he does want to get a deal done. What I do know is the Bengals do value him, and Mike Brown said that, quote, they're going to bend over backwards to try to get a deal done with Jamar. So I wouldn't rule it out, but it is interesting that you have 2 sides here, and I'm not sure how close they are on a deal.
James, I want to stay right there in the receiver room because anytime I see any clips from Bengals training camp, things they've done this offseason, it seems like Jermaine Burton has really stood out and been making plays and kind of developed a little chemistry with Joe Burrow. How good do you think Jermaine Burton can be taking over that number 3 wide receiver spot that Tyler Boyd used to?
Yeah, he certainly has a chance to be really good and be a dynamic downfield threat. And one thing that they're doing with him in training camp is they're moving him all around, similar to Jamar Chase. He's lined up in the backfield. He's lined up in the slot some, certainly lined up outside. And the nice part about it is they obviously have to replace Tyler Boyd. They have multiple guys that can do that and guys that have different skill sets. Someone else that I'll throw into the wide receiver 3 mix, Andre Yosevach, has moved into the slot throughout training camp over the first 4 or 5 practices here, and he looks comfortable there. So I think that there could be a committee that replaces Tyler Boyd. But you're right about Jermaine Burton. Has field stretching ability, and is certainly going to be a factor for this offense this season.
James Rapine, Locked On Bengals, joining us here on The Fan. I want to hit you up about some of these injuries and what you understand about, specifically 2 guys right now on the defensive line. Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard. How concerned should Bengal fans be about those guys being a little nicked up right now?
Don't be concerned at all from an injury standpoint. Trey Hendrickson, he's part of a veteran plan, I would say, where they're just slowly nursing him through camp, making sure that he's good to go when it matters. And Sam Hubbard did get a little nicked up the other day. I actually just saw him in the brand new locker room as they were showing us. He's fine. I think they'll be cautious with him, so I'm sure he'll have a couple of off days, especially with them putting the pads on today. But Sam Hubbard's going to be fine.
At the safety position, how important was it for them to bring back Von Bell to have that veteran leader back there, and then also bringing in Geno Stone from a division rival?
Yeah, I think the one thing about the Bengals free agency class this year, they were clearly targeting specific guys and specific fits for their offense or their defense, and they were able to land them. And Geno Stone was the first guy they agreed to terms with. They prioritized him long before the negotiating period opened, and it's because he can play that deep safety role, and he is a veteran that they think they can plug back there and not necessarily be Jesse Bates, but fill the void that Jesse Bates left behind to a large degree from that free safety spot. And then as far as Von Bell is concerned, man, what a steal. One of the biggest steals in free agency. They're paying him a league minimum deal. The Panthers are paying Von to play for the Bengals this year. And I don't think they necessarily knew Von was going to come available, but when he did, they jumped on it. I know Joe Burrow reached out to him, and they couldn't be more excited. And the one thing that you keep hearing is the communication, how much better it is on the back end. So I expect Von Bell to start alongside Geno Stone, and I think that they expect those guys to stabilize the back end of the defense.
James, do you have any feel right now, and I know it's early on in the process, but when you look at Zach Moss and Chase Brown, specifically on third down, the pass catching back, the guy that could be, that extra blocker to protect Burrow when they like to spread things out, any feel on who that guy could be right now?
Yeah, I think if there was a game today, they would trust Zach Moss more as a pass blocker, and it's just because he's been there, done that, and all the reps that he's taken in the league doing that, and he's just a veteran that is more proven. At the same time, I think that Chase Brown has improved dramatically as a pass catcher out of the backfield. We haven't really seen the pass blocking element yet because the pads haven't been on, and so that's certainly a factor when it comes to that third down spot. But I think both guys right now are going to get a bunch of carries, a bunch of snaps, and as far as third down goes, it would not shock me if Chase Brown pushes because of his explosion, his ability to catch out of the backfield. And if he could show he's a quality pass blocker, it wouldn't shock me at all if he eats into some of those snaps from Zach Moss as well.
The starting 5 on the offensive line, it seems like the Bengals are set this year, and it seems like a pretty good group. Are the Bengals confident, though, in the backups that they have in case one or two of those offensive linemen go down? Because on paper, the starting 5 looks really good.
Yeah, I think, one, we don't entirely know the starting 5, and I do agree. I penciled in Trent Brown as well, but first-rounder Amarius Mims is certainly pushing for that. Isn't on the NFI list like Trent Brown is, and so he's getting valuable snaps with the first-team offense right now. But I think that they're confident in the group they have because of that. because one of those guys is going to lose in this competition for the starting right tackle job, and so that guy can be your swing tackle, whether it's Mims, who has experience at both from his days at Georgia, or Trent Brown, who's proven it in the NFL at left tackle and right tackle. So they're confident there. The interior, I think that they like their guys, but that is a bit of a risk. I was surprised they waited until round 7 to draft Matt Lee, a center, who's going to push for that backup spot. But, yeah, they're confident in Cody Ford and some of the other backup interior linemen that they have.
So Dan Pitzer, he's been tabbed as the new offensive coordinator for the Bengals unit there. We know Callahan's now over in Tennessee leading the charge there. But, you know, what do you understand about his relationship with Joe Burrow and how those guys can mesh well alongside Zach Taylor to do their thing and continue to throw out their good offensive product? What do we need to know about Dan Pitzer?
Yeah, the Bengals, they were pretty grateful that Brian Callahan got hired when he did, because if it had been 2 more days, he would be an offensive coordinator elsewhere. And that's how in demand Dan Pitzer was. I mean, the Saints were in on him. There were a bunch of other teams too. I don't want to go through the list, but there were probably 5 teams that were willing to hire him to be the OC this offseason. And so for them to keep him, they were ecstatic about that. Joe has a great relationship with him. It was a natural progression. He's been the quarterback's coach the past couple of years, and Brian Callahan was just kind of around probably a year longer than they anticipated, so it made it awkward, but the transition worked out really well. So I expect this offense to have a lot of the same elements, but they want to be more explosive, and they want to be tougher to prepare for, and that's why we've seen a lot more under center throughout training camp. I think you'll see more play action. I think you'll see some things that'll make Joe Burrow's life a bit easier now that their pieces are around him that are different than it was early in his career when you were kind of letting him do whatever it took to win games. Now you have other pieces that can pick up some of the slack and take a little pressure off of Burrow.
Yeah, it should be fun to see. Real quick before we let you go, you mentioned it. How's that new redesigned locker room looking to your eye?
Ooh, it looks like a college team's locker room, and that's a compliment. Because you know how college teams roll. Their locker rooms are just insane. And, yeah, it is a very, very nice locker room. They must have spent a pretty penny on it. But everything from fans in the helmet compartments to help equipment dry. There's an equipment spot for that. Plenty of room, charging ports. Put it like this, fellas. I could work from one of those lockers. So I'm going to send Mike Brown a note and see maybe if he'll let me in.
I love it. That's awesome. James, we always appreciate your time and enjoy training camp, and I'm sure we'll connect soon and get another update on what's happening with one of the best teams in the AFC. James, thank you, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
There you go. James Rapine, Locked On Bengals. He was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Week number 1 for those Bengals. They welcome in the New England Patriots September 8th, week number 2.
Oh, boy.
One of the most anticipated games of the offseason. When they go back to, as the Bengals would call it, Burrowhead, and take on those Kansas City Chiefs on September 15th. Bake, when we come back, one of the top honors in college football is the Maxwell Award. The preseason watch list for that award came out. How many Buckeyes are on that list? We'll tell you next. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Straight from the manufacturer, cabinets are a better value. That's why you need Choice Cabinet for your next project. All wood, quality cabinets from an Ohio business that does things right. Choice Cabinet, 216-378-9313 or choicecabinet.com.
It's a summer savings extravaganza at Kemba Financial Credit Union. You pick how you want your money to grow. Choose a limited time 13-month certificate at up to 5.25% annual percentage yield to lock in your savings with a $500 minimum deposit, or enjoy access to your funds anytime with a money market at 4.75% APY intro rate until October 31st with a $5,000 minimum balance and a $1 million maximum. Visit Kemba.org for details. Restrictions apply. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
The Beat the Heat fan campaign is underway. Help Ohio's most vulnerable residents this summer. Purchase new box fans and take them to the nearest Franklin, Madison, or Marion County fire station. The Fan 10 TV Beat the Heat fan campaign is sponsored by Newman Roofing.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No. because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Are you or a loved one struggling with addiction? Pinnacle Treatment and Recovery Works are here to help guide you on a path to a better life. We offer residential addiction treatment, detox, and opioid treatment programs throughout Ohio that fit your unique needs. We make it easy to get started. We accept Medicaid, most commercial insurance, and our access center is open 24/7. A better life is possible. Visit pinnacletreatment.com/Ohio. Where there is treatment, there is hope.
Wouldn't it be fun if we went back and aired old Buckeye games where they kicked the crap out of people? It's happening, baby. Join Timmy Hall for Buckeye Replay, Saturday at 1.
This week, Ohio State and Oregon from 1987.
The Fan.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. Austin Ward here. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3-putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with Awaken 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy, because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy amongst your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken 180 is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist bumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-606-8737. 800-606-8737. 800-606-8737.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Accurate Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Their live golf team name is Ice Dogs. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Matty Ice. Got Ryan Baker in the house today for AR. CB's back in the building. It's a wonderful Tuesday, a muggy Tuesday in the city. Bake, before you know it, man, we're going to be talking ball. I mean, August 31st, we'll be here before we know it. Ohio State's going to welcome in Akron, then they'll welcome in Western Michigan, and then they'll welcome in Marshall. First road game for them will be at Sparty with a new head coach in Jonathan Smith, not T-Bone. We still got T-Bone here. We can't let T-Bone leave us. He's got too much other stuff going on. We can't put more on his plate. He can't run a football program. The man's already doing a ton around here. So I love when we get to this point of the football calendar, because we just got done talking to James Rapine about, the early feel throughout some training camp practices, but then you get the award watch list coming out, and the Maxwell Award around college football is kind of tabbed as, the best player in college football, which throws me off because my mind always goes to the Heisman, but I guess the Heisman is now like a quarterback-driven award more than anything, outside of, Devonta Smith a couple years ago, who was just insane at Alabama. More times than not, this thing's going to go to the quarterback. But the Maxwell Award, the preseason watch list dropped, and there's, 70 to 80 guys.
80 guys on the list. 80 guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. 80 guys on this list, and there are 3 Buckeyes that made the cut. So you've got Emeka Egbuka, Will Howard, and Quinshon Judkins all on the list right now. No surprise whatsoever to me to have those three guys there right now. You could have talked me into Travion also being on this thing. I think maybe in the eyes of whoever puts this together, it's maybe a little question of his availability throughout the years. But if we're just talking pure talent, to me, a guy like Travion Henderson, he should be on this list, babe.
It's interesting that Quinshon makes it and not Travion because at least from what we think, it's going to be a 50-50 split as long as both of them are healthy. Also interesting that Will Howard, we don't know for sure he's the starting quarterback, right? I mean, we think, but we haven't heard for sure he's the guy running out there with the ones on August 31st.
That has not been stamped yet. I am absolutely with you. I think kind of following the breadcrumbs game, just with the action from Coach Day and, what I'm going to assume is probably a decent bag that came his way. Mm-hmm. Now that we're in this NIL era, one of my favorite rules in football, especially fantasy, because we love talking fantasy, is when you have tough decisions sometimes, follow the money. Follow the money, and that's probably going to be the guy that's out there a lot. And we don't know the exact dollar figure, but I'm sure, Will's living well, right now over there as a college kid.
Fine.
Yeah, he's doing just fine with what I'm sure he got from Ohio State. But I think you're right to bring that up, and that's going to be one of the fascinating things to see unfold throughout the offseason, getting going, not even the offseason, throughout camp, really. Season's here starting on Thursday.
Do you know what caught my eye more than anything when I saw this list?
What's that?
That there's only 2 schools with 3 players on the Maxwell watch list, and the other one is Miami University.
The U.
The U.
Okay, not the Redhawks. The U. Them Canes.
Not the University of Miami.
Okay. You're talking Michael
We're
Irvin.
talking the U.
Ken Dorsey. Those guys.
That's just interesting to me because they're a team that has had a lot of momentum here in recruiting under Mario Cristobal, and we know they've got a ton of NIL money. Yeah. Is the U a player again in college football?
What's interesting about this is that the ACC chatter this offseason, it's been relatively quiet. There hasn't been a bunch of noise about that conference and how good they could be. There seems to be like a big 3, I believe, in the minds of the talking heads, and I guess we are some of the talking heads, but when you talk about some of the big-time analysts around the sport, it's Florida State, it's Clemson, and it's the team you just talked about in Miami. They swung big in the transfer portal as well at the quarterback position in Cam Ward. That was a guy that we talked about potentially coming here to Ohio State. I thought that would have been a really good fit, too, with what he can do and what we've seen him do at Washington State. So the 3 guys I think that are on the list for them have to be Cam Ward. They brought in Damian Martinez from Oregon State. And they have a really good receiver. Is it Restrepo?
Yeah, those are the 3.
He can go. He can absolutely go. I have not looked at their schedule. I would love to look at the schedule because when you say, is Miami back? That's the question we asked about Texas for years, right? And when Texas is good, it's healthy for the sport. And I think the same thing could be said for Miami.
Mario Cristobal's a guy that we saw do it at Oregon, and he just seems like a perfect fit down there for the U. It's funny, we talk about these lists, and you talk about them coming out. Just a little bit ago, the Bronco Nagurski watch list came out, which is for the best defensive player, and the Buckeyes have 4 on that with Caleb Downs, Tyleik Williams, Denzel Burke, and JTT.
I can't wait to see Caleb Downs just unleashed.
So fun.
Let's just get the
We got to have him returning kicks, right?
No.
Yes, it's going to be it's so fun to see.
CB's in with you. No.
So fun to see.
Let this man be an All-American safety.
Him and Emeka back there returning kicks. It's so exciting.
The way that this program recruits, with the elite playmakers that they have on deck in the form of freshmen, sophomores right now, there has to be guys that can take on that duty. You want Caleb Downs flying, because I think what he can do is have an impactful season in the way that Malik Hooker had a few years ago now, because I think he's that good of a player. I don't even really want to see him do the running back thing that was floated out there either. I'm out.
So quickly you forget Chris Olave and Terry McLaurin.
Listen, I hear you, but everybody knows I've never been a fan of your premier playmakers doing anything outside of what they're asked to do, especially when you have the talent to do it up and down the roster. So
what if he wants to do it?
Then I say, you know what, Caleb? I'm sorry, big dog. I need you in cover 2.
I need to
you in cover 3.
to see some kick return touchdowns, Matty. It's been a while.
You're trying to get him the Heisman is what you're trying to do.
Let's do it. Why not?
That's an uphill climb for
Why
a defender.
not?
Uphill climb for a defender. Real quick, we mentioned Miami. I wanted to highlight their schedule for you. Right out of the gate, a chance to make a bit of a statement. You got a rivalry game. They're at the Swamp.
Ooh.
They're at the Swamp August 31st, same day we get the Buckeyes kicking off as well.
Florida's not supposed to be very good this year either. That could be a big statement.
They got Graham Mertz down there. He's been hanging on for a while and just kind of been blah since that coming out party he had at Wisconsin years ago. So the ACC is one of those interesting conferences this year. They do host Florida State this year. They lost a lot. Virginia Tech's at home for them. They don't play Clemson in the regular season. So Miami, to your point, could be one of those teams that we're talking about in November that's one of the best.
Just very weird, no Georgia, no Alabama as far as having 3 on there. Oregon, we know how explosive they're supposed to be on offense.
Yeah.
Ohio State and the U.
I love it. I'm here for it. And there's a little history there between those two programs. You never know. They might meet. Again, coming up next, how is Nick Chubb's rehab process coming along? Browns GM Kevin Stefanski. Andrew Berry is the GM. He'll tell you how that's going after the break. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
As a local family-owned and operated company, Newman Roofing takes great pride in providing great customer experience and quality product to every job they do. From the first phone call to the end of your project, they'll know who you are. Don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Call 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
My name is Dr. Ray Tessner. I'm an orthopedic surgeon in Columbus, Ohio. I've been involved with taking care of athletes and aging athletes for over 35 years.
Dr. Ray Tessner knows a thing or two about joint pain, and one thing he's a big believer in right now is regenerative medicine.
The advantage that I see in the regenerative medicine that there's really no downside to it.
Today, you'll find Dr. Tessner at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting way to deal with joint pain, using natural concentrated healing agents from your own body to go to work on achy joints, restoring and repairing damaged tissue.
It's one of the best management tools that's come around in a long time.
Tired of that pain in your knees, hips, back, and shoulder? Before you go under the knife, get a second opinion from QC Kinetics. You really can get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime.
QC Kinetics has become a leader in the regenerative medicine field.
Go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
Ignite your Irish spirit at the Dublin Irish Festival, August 2nd through 4th. Prepare to be blown away as you explore one of the top Irish festivals in the US, drawing over 100,000 guests to Dublin, Ohio each year. Enjoy 7 music stages, 60 acts and more than 800 performers, epic Irish entertainment, great food and more. Get your tickets at dublinirishfestival.org.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Timmy Hall, 2 days away from Buckeye football camp opening up on Thursday. We'll be there the first 2 days of practice with Morning Juice and Bishop and Friends broadcasting live. Our weekend shows will be there as well. 4 Buckeye defenders are also on the Bronco Nagurski Award watch list. Most of any team in the nation: Caleb Downs, Tyleek Williams, Denzel Burke, and JT Tuimoloau. It's the award going to the nation's best defensive player. Olympic basketball, France and Japan on the men's side about to go to overtime here. Also in a couple days, the NFL preseason fires up in Canton. Bears and Texans duke it out in the annual Hall of Fame game. Coverage right here at 8 after the Buckeye Show. C.J. Stroud is practicing today, but he's got a foot deal. Head coach D'Amico Ryans on Infield Play said, "We'll see." This one's sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Earn a $200 cash bonus at BMI when you open a new free checking account. Go to bmifcu.org/free.
The best bet on the radio. This is Rothman and Ice.
Welcome back in. Matty Ice, Ryan Baker in the house today, filling in for AR. Timmy Hall on the update desk. Always appreciate your time. Hope you're having a great Tuesday so far. Where you at on the Olympics, Big? How you feeling about this, big dog?
I keep forgetting they're even on, quite frankly.
Tells me everything I need to know.
Although we had some volleyball in here, and that was okay. That piqued my interest.
Piqued your interest, huh? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. CB's in there watching basketball right now. So France they're messing around, huh? Victor Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game, don't get me wrong, but honestly, the gymnastics right now, the team event for the women's side, it has Simone Biles and Suni Lee right now. It's really, really intriguing.
So medal count right now, the US of A, America, we're on top right now. 20 total medals at the moment. France is in second right now with 17, followed up by China. So by my eye here, we've only got 3 golds.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough.
I don't love that. I mean,
gotta have more than that.
France has 5. China has 6. We got to get the golds cranked up. And
if you ain't first, you're last.
You know what? And if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. How do you, you subscribe to that?
I'm all in on that.
I think that's where Michigan fans were at too last year.
Hey, you did it. No, had a chance to shut them up, and we didn't.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. In that game, when it gets here, man, there's going to be so much static around that game. I know those Ohio State guys over there are just foaming at the mouth to get after the Wolverines. But hey, as players always tell us, coaches always tell us, day by day, brick by brick. You don't want to get distracted. You got to lock in. But yeah, this is going to be an incredible football season.
I also remember coaches that had every day, they said they had something for that game in the practice.
That was the thing.
Just saying.
That was the thing. As well, I've never been too big on, the whole, you got to have, Ohio guys playing in that game. To me, I'm like, let's just get, the best players around the country to play in that game.
We've seen it work both ways, though, right? Yeah, Urban didn't care where guys were from. He just wanted the best.
That's what
Tress loved having the Ohio guys.
I guess for me, I don't know how that shows itself in that game, what type of inherent advantage you have as an Ohio kid. Like, you understand the tradition. I get that. But it's not like, hey, this is going to make me tackle this guy better. Or
I think it doesn't matter where you are from, but somehow there has to be a hatred instilled for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be respect.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a hatred in it as well.
I love the video that came out years ago. I think it came from the Big Ten Network where both teams were in the tunnel, and I think it was Ohio State walking past or Michigan was walking past the locker room, and there was the chirping going on. Like, that's what it's all about to me when you talk about the hatred there. There's a lot of good stuff baked into that rivalry, that's for sure. One guy around these parts that gets a lot of love is Nick Chubb. And it was a wild situation, an unfortunate situation last year where he went down, I believe, in week 2 or week 3 in Pittsburgh with that very gruesome leg injury. So here we are to where we're at a point now where you got these training camp practices popping off, and this is a guy that we know is one of the best in the sport. I think he's on the Hall of Fame highway, or was on the Hall of Fame highway with the way that he started his career, but you just never know what you're going to get from a guy coming off of the injury that he had. Browns GM Andrew Berry spoke to the media, and here he is with a bit of an update on Nick Chubb.
I mean, look, Nick, he's Batman, right? Like, we are incredibly pleased with the work that he's put in, the progress that he's made. He still has a little ways to go, but we're really happy to see where he is as we enter camp, and look forward to him to continue to improve the health of the knee.
So he's Batman. I did not know that he was Batman. I didn't know he went out to Gotham at night and took out the Joker and all those guys. Look at Nick Chubb.
I don't
double
know.
duty.
So typically on his Instagram page, on his story, he'll post like a photo of Batman when he's locked in for a big game.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of came from.
I love it. Bruce Wayne, little Bruce Wayne action on the side.
Listen, I don't know if he's Batman or not, but he's some kind of superhero. That's for sure.
He might be the juggernaut from X-Men because when he's running, when you just talk about force, just power, speed, he has everything. He has everything. I don't know if the wiggle, he doesn't have that, but he hasn't had to have it. He is to me, north and south, old school, I'm running through your face type of running back. The dude is just so special, and you just fingers crossed that he can get back to that peak. That's just, it's so unfortunate what happened because he seems like a good dude. Seems like a great teammate. He is a selfless type of guy, and man, it's just at this point in his career, Bake, what does he look like coming out of that on the other side?
And that's the thing. It's tough for someone to come back from one injury like this. But if you remember, he did that already. He did basically the same thing to the same knee in college. Yep. And now he's doing it again. The one thing that I've always heard about injuries like that, though, is the best way to support them and get everything stable and right is to have the muscles around there build up, doing their thing. And there's no doubt that Nick Chubb has the leg muscles around the knee to be able to help support it.
The videos of him already squatting 500 pounds or whatever, it's like, what are we doing? What are you built of, Nick Chubb? The guy's been north of 5 yards a carry his entire career in the NFL. So when you talk about what this offense could look like maybe early on in the season, I think that puts a lot of pressure on the QB1 and Deshaun Watson. And he himself is dealing with an injury coming out of last season with the shoulder. And CB, I want you to hop on here because there was a little bit of a report that came out yesterday, I believe from Cleveland.com, that maybe there's a little concern with him.
Yeah, just the way maybe practice wrapped up yesterday. And then there was also a video of a throw attempt. It looked like he was trying to drive the ball down the field about 25, 30 yards. Down the field to a net and kind of short hopped it and then ended his practice right after that. So maybe we were getting too far ahead of ourselves and reacting to it. But still, until you see him play, you're going to question it.
It was weird, too, last year because I remember us talking about some of these games to where, he was leaving a couple of the footballs short going to receivers. It was just odd. He just never has looked fluid in Cleveland. He's never really been able to have a clean runway or reach the ceiling that he did in Houston. And maybe that's something we need to completely just put to bed at this point. Maybe that guy is never going to show himself ever again, but I think he could still be a good quarterback. And with the defense that they are going to have, Bake, you're not going to need much.
He's never going to be the guy that he was, I don't believe. I don't think he was going to be that guy even if the physical health was there, because I just think mentally he wasn't going to be there again. I think the Browns, we saw what happened last year. I think the Browns are going to regret big time not keeping Joe Flacco. And I understand the whole, oh my gosh, Deshaun's mentality with this. Who cares? It's about winning football games and what Kevin Stefanski wants. We've heard this multiple times. Bo Bishop says it on this station all the time.
Shout out to Uncle Bo.
Kevin Stefanski draws up a play, and he feels like it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, he should be able to produce the results because that play is designed properly. I'm not so sure Jameis Winston is that guy because one thing Jameis Winston has been plagued with in his career is interceptions. The one thing Joe Flacco did was he read the play, he threw the ball where it was supposed to, and he didn't turn it over. And I think that's why it worked so good last year for them.
Until it didn't, when Flacco did have critical turnovers in the postseason.
For sure.
You're right,
One postseason game. You're
no
right.
question. The body of work that Flacco put together, though, was special. It really was. So you're so right to bring that up. Here's what I'll say. Because AR and I debated this, and he's with you, that you put, I think, the football stuff before maybe a little bit of the emotional, personal stuff. I like to invest in that. And for a guy in Deshaun who I don't know where his confidence is, and I'm sure publicly he would say he's a confident guy and all that, but when you go from being what some people were saying, the second or third best quarterback in the league, to now you're a bit of an afterthought when we have those conversations about who are the best guys. I think your confidence has to be shook to a certain level. And I just don't know if you want that guy hovering over the situation. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. It's logical to think that way, that the quarterback that we had in the building last year, we brought this guy off the couch. He hit the ground running and was lighting up defenses. But I think with Jameis, some of that gunslinger mentality that you're talking about, you hope that, and honestly, the biggest thing in all of this is that you don't even have to talk about a backup quarterback this year, is that Deshaun can play from start to finish and play well, but history has shown us that he's going to be nicked up every once in a while. So I hear you on the Jameis thing. He's been a guy that he's thrown for a bunch of yards, 5,000 yards in a season, 30 touchdowns, but that came along with 30 picks, to your point. So can't wait to see what this offense looks like right out of the gate, and they're going to get tested immediately with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys coming in to town. Andrew Berry also spoke about what I think was one of the sneaky good hires of the offseason, and that is the former Buckeye Mike Vrabel, and here he is on adding him to the staff.
Braves is awesome. He's awesome. And we are lucky because I think, and you all probably see it, we're probably on borrowed time with him. But we're going to maximize it as much as possible. I think he has such a unique perspective because here's a former, all-pro player, coached in Power 5 college, defensive coordinator, and then very, very successful head coach in Tennessee. So there's nothing that he hasn't seen or that he can't provide, insight into, whether it's how we're practicing on the field, how we game plan, our player development and player support areas, how we think about, acquiring players, whether it's in the draft or free agency. So, we were certainly getting our money's worth with Mike, and we couldn't be more pleased to have him here with us.
Can't believe the dude's not a head coach. Go ahead.
Do you have Vrabel on borrowed time, or is Kevin Stefanski possibly on borrowed time? And maybe Mike Vrabel is your next guy. And I know Stefanski has had a couple of awards, Coach of the Year awards and whatnot. But we've been hearing the whole time Stefanski has been here that this roster is one of the best, if not the best, in the NFL. And first round of the playoffs, a couple years ago, they beat the Steelers in round one and they moved on. First round of the playoffs, is that good enough? What if the Browns, and I think this is very possible, what if the Browns finish last in the AFC North and they don't make the playoffs? Is the heat turned up on Kevin Stefanski? I don't think so.
I don't think we're there yet.
But is the heat turned up on Andrew Berry? Because if Andrew Berry goes, there's a good chance Kevin Stefanski goes, because they seem kind of in lockstep.
They both got extensions.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything's good in the hood right now.
I think I tend to agree with you, but it's just an interesting.
When he said borrowed time, I think if he were to be asked about that again, he would clarify he's going to be elsewhere. He's going to be roaming the sidelines as somebody else's head coach next year, because I think that's what's going to happen.
And I think that's what he meant. Yeah. I'm just saying, though, is the borrowed time on someone else?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think Kevin Stefanski has built up some very, very goodwill in the building. I think ownership is on board with what he did. I think after last year, after playing 4 to 6 quarterbacks and you leading that team to the postseason, that goes a long way. And so you're right. The conversation, even going back to the Baker Mayfield era, about these rosters that Cleveland has put together, when you bring in Odell and you have all these guys and on and on and on, you want to see more for sure. But I think Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, those guys are on the same page. And those guys, I think, will be, the GM and the head coach moving forward for years to come up in Cleveland. Speaking of Kevin Stefanski, as the play caller, he wants to get one guy more involved next year. You'll hear who that guy is after the break. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof. We're dealing at Reichert Nissan. Hundreds of Nissans in stock, on the ground, and priced to sell fast. Low lease payments on brand new Reichert Nissan Sentras, only $229 a month. Now we're really dealing. With our best value guarantee and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Visit the Reichert Mega Mall off 270 and 33 or shop thousands of new and certified used at ReichertNissan.com. We're dealing.
With approved credit, 2024 Sentra SR FWD 24-month lease with $3,000 due at signing and $731.24.
I can't believe tax season is here already. But look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Summer is full of family fun, strawberry picking, little Johnny's baseball games, warding off shark attacks on the beach.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
When you get sick of all that crap, turn to us. Download the Fan app and take us with you. The Fan.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. This season on Nada Yada Island.
When we were new, they spoiled me. They even gave me a phone. But then, it's like I didn't exist.
Don't take yada yada from your wireless carrier. Now with Metro, get that new customer feeling again and again. Introducing Metro Flex. Free 5G phones when you join, same deals as new customers when you stay. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Just bring your number and ID and sign up for an eligible plan. After 12 months, trade in and get our best deals on select devices.
Hey, Ohio! The Ohio State Fair is happening now through Sunday, August 4th. Don't miss the food, rides, animals, entertainment, the butter cow, and so much more. Tickets on sale at ohiostatefair.com.
At Glow Fiber Business, your business is our priority. With prepackaged and customized fully fiber optic solutions, Glow Fiber Business delivers the fast, reliable, and scalable fiber internet your business needs to grow, all backed by the superior local customer support you deserve. Glow Fiber is here, and we mean business. Call 1-833-WANT-GLOW or visit glowfiberbusiness.com to switch today.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state. The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at onnradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're going to see increasing sunshine throughout the day today. Temperatures will be approaching 90 degrees. Heat indices will be in the mid-90s. Heading into tonight, we'll see partly cloudy skies with a low of 70. Showers and thunderstorms on your Wednesday with a high of 92. Heat indices, though, close to 100. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with a look at your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
It's Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
Welcome back in, Matty Ice. Got Ryan Baker, the Bake Show in the house, filling in for AR. CB's on the board doing his thing. Thanks for joining us. You know, we were talking about Nick Chubb in our previous segment and how he kind of leans into, a little bit of the Batman vibe. I was watching The Dark Knight Rises last night, and Bane is just incredible. I don't know if you're a Batman guy, if you ever got into the trilogy. Are you into any superhero movies? You got a favorite, superhero or any of those guys?
I'm not really.
Too cool for that, huh?
No, I don't know if it's cool. Maybe I'm not cool for not being into it.
You need to be in, man. You need to be in. I was hyping up Deadpool and Wolverine. Saw that this weekend. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman absolutely were in their bag. They killed that. That movie was incredible. What's your favorite movie series? Are you a movie guy in general?
I'm not a big movie guy. No, not really.
Just a sports guy, huh?
I just, I've got some movies that I like from the past, mostly comedy stuff, but...
Okay, if you could only watch...
If we're doing
one
series, let's go the American Pie series.
Well,
but
you know what?
One movie, though, I'm going Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy.
I love Chris Farley.
I've watched that, a couple of times. It's good. It's good. But, to each his own, right? Isn't that the saying?
That's
I'm
right.
not mad at it. When
That's
did that
why
come out?
Baskin-Robbins makes 31 flavors, Maddie. You like mint chocolate chip. I like cookies and cream.
I'm not a big mint chocolate chip type of guy. I'm really not. But I'm not mad at it, but it's not high up on the board. But I know it's a fan favorite for a lot of people. A fan favorite last year for the Cleveland Browns was David Njoku. David Njoku really put it all together. We were talking about Miami last year and what they could be this year in the realm in the realm of college football. I remember when David Njoku was drafted out of Miami, I was like, this dude's going to be a freak show. With his intangibles, the physical traits, everything that he has, man, this dude can be special. And it took a little bit of time. And last year, he absolutely hit the ground running. And I think that's one of the interesting talking points of this all season for the Browns and their offense is, can that same guy that we saw those last handful of weeks in the season flip the page into 2024 and 25 and still be that productive? Kevin Stefanski, his head coach, talked about him to the media, and here he is on possibly wanting to get him more involved.
You go into every game thinking specifically about your guys, and Dave's top of the list, with who we're trying to get the ball to. And then you really, as an offense, you design plays where he's primary or you feel really good that you're going to get a certain look. And then it's the quarterback's job to distribute the ball accordingly. So we've gone into games where we didn't think it'd be a big game for a tight end, and then all of a sudden you walk away and they've got a ton of catches. So it's really based on how the defense deploys is where that ball goes, but no secret that we're trying to get Dave the ball.
We've seen it for years in football. Sometimes it's just a quarterback vibe thing with a certain position. Some guys love going to the tight end. Tom Brady ripped up defenses for years, going on to win 7 Super Bowls with Gronk. And, some other guys that played at a very high level. Pat Mahomes has chipped away at doing a similar thing with Travis Kelce. And so Flacco came in last year and was on the same page with Njoku. And that really, I think, raised the ceiling of that offense. So now when you look at, obviously, Flacco being subtracted from the equation, Bake, that's going to be, I think, a situation they got to get figured out here in training camp now is Deshaun and Njoku getting on the same page. That way they can stress defenses out with another good weapon through the air.
I have never seen a player be able to all of a sudden catch the ball like Njoku could when Joe Flacco was throwing to him. And Njoku had always been a guy that, man, he would make this spectacular one-handed catch going up in between 3 defenders and somehow bring it down for a touchdown. And then it's 3rd and 4. He runs a 5-yard out route, and he's wide open. Throw it, hit him right in the hands, and he'd drop it. But all of a sudden with Flacco last year, Njoku was really good. If Njoku can catch the football, he is definitely a weapon like we saw last year.
Yeah, he can be an elite tight end. You're talking 3 out of the last 4 games for Njoku and the Browns. That dude racked up at least 90 yards through the air, and the target share that he got was absolutely incredible. So the two-headed monster of Njoku and Coop can be one of the best in the AFC. And now with the addition of Jerry Jeudy, and hopefully they get more out of Elijah Moore this season, you're talking about weaponry up there in Cleveland that could be really, really fun to watch on Saturdays. We were talking about Kevin Stefanski, and you brought up, maybe that there's a decent amount of pressure on him this year. This guy last year won his 2nd Coach of the Year award. And so when you look at some of the guys around the league right now, Bake, that could potentially be the Coach of the Year in the NFL for 2024, Is there a guy or two that you like in that realm of the football conversation?
I think the one that comes to my mind immediately is possibly Dan Campbell, because I love what he did last year with the Lions, and I think the Lions are really going to be good this year. Like, I kind of think they're the team that's going to represent the NFC and the Super Bowl this year, and I think if that happens, he's going to be a guy that is right there as far as coach of the year. So that's the one that first pops off to me. Another one, and I think he won't win it because he's so good every year, but a lot of people are sleeping on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I don't understand it. They're a team that made the playoffs last year. They won 10 games last year, and their quarterback, I don't know whether you like their quarterback situation or not. I don't think you can say that it hasn't upgraded from last year.
Has.
Last year you were rolling out Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, that's tough.
There's no way that Russell Wilson or Justin Fields or whatever combination of them isn't better. Najee Harris is in a contract year. That usually bodes well for a team and a running back. And they brought in the ultimate Swiss Army knife in Cordarrelle Patterson, who, oh, yeah, Arthur Smith knows how to use him, knows how to deploy him.
He loves him.
Like, to me, the Steelers are a team that is going to be in the playoffs again, and everybody's sleeping on them. How could Mike Tomlin not be in consideration?
He, to me, I think he wasn't getting or hasn't gotten enough respect over the last few years. And I know Steeler fans are like, you know what? We don't really care too much about all the stuff we did in the past. Yes, it's nice, but it's time to refresh some things. It's time to put a fresh coat of paint on the brand of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think he's one of the best in the league. I think if you get competent quarterback play, to your point, this team will be in the mix. A guy that I like, because the bar is so low, and I think he is going to really take this team from where they were last year to not a contender, but they're going to be a lot better, is Dave Canales. Dave Canales is the new Carolina Panthers head coach. And the reason why I really like what he is going to do is because of what the man has already done at a couple other spots. Dave Canales a couple years ago was part of the offensive minds in Seattle. Remember when Geno Smith really started to figure some things out, and he went on to get himself a new contract. And then last year, Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Baker Mayfield really figured things out. So Bryce Young was the number one overall pick a couple years ago. That's haunting them right now based off of what C.J. Stroud has done in Houston. But I think when you look and you mentioned the Steelers, a former Steeler now, Deontay Johnson, a lot of weapons they put around him through the draft this year. They addressed their offensive line. I just think offensively he's one of those up-and-coming young head coaches on the offensive side of the ball that's going to have Bryce Young look a lot better than what he did last year. So I like Dave Canales in Carolina.
If you want to go in that same realm as well, if Jaden Daniels is as good as people say he is, Dan Quinn could be a guy that could be in this mix as well, because I'm not so sure how good the NFC East this year, NFC East is going to be this year. And the Washington Commanders are a team that could take a huge step if Jaden Daniels is good.
And I think their defense is going to be pretty solid as well, because he's got a great defensive mind. But Jaden Daniels, that's going to be a fun rookie to watch. He and Caleb Williams with a bunch of playmakers around him is going to be interesting. And Caleb Williams are getting ready for the Hall of Fame game here in a couple days. So a lot of stuff happening in the state of Ohio starting on Thursday.
Well, it was just announced that Caleb Williams will not be playing in that game,
which is smart. He doesn't need, what are we doing? You don't need to play in that game. It kind of stinks for the people that are going, but it's more of like a vibe thing. Hey, we're at the Hall of Fame and all that stuff. But yeah, that a lot of football action coming at you this weekend, both on the pitch and on the field. Ohio State football camp going, Hall of Fame game getting going, man. It's going to be a fun weekend. That's for sure. Coming up next, 24/7 Sports. Great college football website. They ranked all the Big Ten head coaches. Where does Ryan Day stack up? Where are some of the new faces stacking up? Luke Fickell, the former Buckeye, in Madison. Where's he at? We'll tell you after the break. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
The only radio station still operating with an active booze cart. I'm drunk right now. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. We have all heard the horror stories of someone knocking on the door to offer a free roof inspection, only to go up and illegally create damage to the roof in hopes of trying to push through a new roof to the insurance company.
Rather than having to deal with going through the process of filing claims for vandalism, call a company that you can trust. That company is Newman Roofing. They've been working in the community for 32 years. They did my roof. They came to the house. I could trust them with my kids, with my wife, with my family, and they have built a reputation of honesty and integrity. They'll be honest with you on whether or not you need a new roof, whether it sustained damage in recent storms, and whether there's still life left in it. They'll educate you so you understand what is happening with your roof and answer any questions like they did for me and my family. So whether you need a roof repair or replacement, call the most trusted company in Ohio. Call Newman Roofing at 614-NEW-ROOF or newmanroofing.com.
With surgery and drugs being the main options to treat chronic joint pain, that left orthopedic surgeons like Dr. Ray Tessner thinking,
geez, wouldn't it be nice if we can have another form of treatment that eliminates some of the downside and has a bigger upside as we learn more about it?
And then he found it. Regenerative medicine, an exciting, fast-growing approach to dealing with pain using healing agents from your own body.
Well, it's using the miracle benefits of the human body to help encourage healing.
Today, you'll find Dr. Tessner at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving patients lasting relief from joint pain in their knees, hips, shoulders, and back.
It's one of the best management tools that has come around in a long time.
Finally, options other than surgery and steroids. All natural regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics. Learn more. Call today for your free consultation.
Go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Bishop and Friends.
Joey, you like these things so much, why don't you try eating these in the contest? You know, a meat stick is going to stay together, but in a non-meat stick situation, it's anarchy.
Bishop and Friends.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony for the Good Feet store. 3 words for me, pain-free summer. Spent probably 30 hours walking around the Memorial Tournament and felt awesome with my personal arch supports from the Good Feet store in my everyday kicks. Sure, every now and then we all get random foot pain from pickleball or golf or just being a human being. Having my personally fit arch supports in my shoes has made a massive difference. And even right after I put them in, didn't take long to feel much more supported and aligned, and it's so easy to just move them into any pair. Before I had them, I dreaded being on my feet for any length of time. Well, you have nothing to lose but the pain, as they say. It's a free fitting and test walk. Try them for yourself. See the difference it can make. It did for me. And best of all, you can wear them home. 2 locations on Polaris Parkway and Stringtown Road, or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com. The Good Feet store, America's arch supports experts.
If you're looking for a new couch, you could cut down on expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Because you know you've had this couch for too long. Sure, you've had good times together, but a ripped-up cushion is not a fond memory. It's a sign. Notice how other people have couches with 2 armrests? Now that's living, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new couch. Please, it's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Their cholesterol numbers put all other fan hosts to shame. You are listening to Rothman and Ice.
Welcome back in. Matty Ice, Ryan Baker chopping it up with you today on a Tuesday. Thanks so much for your time. So, we got some new faces around the Big Ten. Not only players, but head coaches as well. Friend of the program, Brad Crawford over at 24/7 Sports, does a really good job covering college football. He stacked up the rankings for head coaches going into 2024. Bake, I'm going to hit you with the top 10, and then we'll go from there. We'll zoom out and go from there after that. So you got a new face up in East Lansing, and Jonathan Smith. at Michigan State. He's got him at 10. At 9, you've got Jed Fish. He took over the Washington program after Kalen DeBoer went down to Alabama. At 8, Sharon Moore at Michigan. 7 is Matt Rule up at Lincoln and at Nebraska. Number 6 is Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. 5, a familiar face in Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. 4 is Lincoln Riley for USC. 3, James Franklin at Penn State. 2, Dan Lanning at Oregon. And then 1 is Ryan Day at The Ohio State University. What is one of your knee-jerk reactions to Brad Crawford's stacking up of the top 10 head coaches in the Big Ten?
My initial thought here is I think James Franklin is too high. Only one Big Ten championship. Now, I know Ohio State has been dominant in that time. Michigan, obviously, the past couple years been really good. But Penn State is a program where they should be more involved in this. So I think James Franklin I would have down a little bit. I think I would have Lincoln Riley at number 3. I think I would have Luke Fickell next at number 4 because Fick got Cincinnati to a college football playoff, and I think that is a huge compliment to him. I think Wisconsin is a sneaky team in the Big Ten this year. Because last year they came in and they overhauled their whole offensive system. They didn't have players ready for that. I think in year 2 it's going to be a lot different for Fickell. I think they're a team to watch out for. I think I would leave Kirk Ferentz there at number 5 and then have Franklin right after him. I think Franklin's too high.
I'm glad you brought up Fick because I was pretty high on them last year, and I thought their offense would be a little bit better, but maybe I was too quick to jump at higher expectations for them because those things do take time. You mentioned, their offense taking on a new identity. They brought in Phil Longo as their offensive coordinator, but now they've changed things up again at the most important position, and they brought in Tyler Van Dyke, who was at Miami for a little bit of time, and he's a veteran guy, right? I just hope that he can clean up the turnovers. The dude turned the rock over so much last year, so maybe he's learned for that, or hopefully for their sake, he's learned from that and can take care of the football because you're right. Fick has shown that he can be a program builder, and Cincinnati was absolutely incredible for a couple years, and one of the best corners in the league is Sauce Gardner came through that program there. They got a banger of a game on deck in week 3. I mean, they got Kalen DeBoer and Jalen Milroe in Alabama coming to Madison week 3, so that'll be a great test for them early on in the season, and I think he's going to have them rocking and rolling sooner rather than later. The guy that I'm very intrigued to watch around the sport build that program up or build their program up is Matt Rule up in Lincoln, because Matt Rule, it was a mess in Carolina, right? A complete mess at the NFL level. But you look at his stops throughout his career in the collegiate realm, this dude is a program builder. Year 1 at Temple, they were 2-10. Year 2, they jumped to 6-6. Then he went to Baylor in year 1. They were 1-11. Year 2, they go to 7-6. So they're one of those teams that I think when we get to that Nebraska-Ohio State game this year, which I think is right around week 7, week 8 for both teams, I'm not going to be surprised if Lincoln Riley, if the team from Lincoln, Nebraska comes into Columbus as a top 25 team, because I don't think they're going to face a bunch of resistance. They get Colorado week 2, but I think if Dylan Raiola can hit the ground running as a true freshman, and I know that's a lot to ask, but he's a very talented guy, I think Nebraska could come into the shoe, and we could be talking about a ranked-on-ranked matchup with Matt Rule leading the charge.
It's possible. I don't know if I see that, especially this fast with Matt Rule, and, they're going to be starting a freshman quarterback because Dylan Raiola is going to be the guy. I don't know if I see it that fast. I think that's very interesting. Give Matt Rule a year or 2 and see what he does.
It may take some time.
There's just limitations, I think, with the Nebraska program as far as getting kids to come there. Maybe they're going to have all kinds of NIL money and be able to get people to come, or Raiola is going to get guys to come there. I don't know. That'll be interesting. Greg Schiano is one that's on this list as well. Number 14, it's
People
Rutgers,
like them.
and there's a lot of limitations with Rutgers, but he's proven before that he can do it there. I think Greg Schiano's a really good coach.
People like them this year as a sneaky team that could be a thorn in the side of a lot of people. And then
Kyle Monangai is a heck of a running back.
He led the Big Ten in rushing yards last year. That's a great call out of you. Then you look at their schedule. No Ohio State, no Michigan, no Penn State. They return a lot of guys back. So Rutgers, that's one of those teams where we get into maybe late October, early November, that we should be I think we will be putting a little bit more respect on their name. So, because I know coming out of Big Ten Media Day, some people really like the way that they looked on paper.
Lincoln Riley is a guy, too, on this list that could drop really fast because he's going to have to learn how to play defense
in
the Big Ten.
I'm glad you brought him up because Paul Finebaum, not a fan of Lincoln Riley.
I think he has an enormous amount to prove because, quite frankly, Jay, I think he's been a disaster. Let's go back 3 years. Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC. It was announced at this moment in time. What did Lincoln Riley do? He ran away. He did not want to deal with the Southeastern Conference at OU. He took what he thought was an easier course, so he goes out to Southern Cal. He takes Caleb Williams. Good first year, but since then, everything has gone wrong. I thought last year was one of the worst coaching jobs I have ever seen. Quite frankly, had I been the athletic director at Southern Cal, I would have fired Lincoln Riley because he's yet to show, after many years as a head coach, he knows anything about defense. He's gone through defensive coordinators. He just simply couldn't handle it. And now things are going to be 5 times worse in the Big Ten.
It's put up or shut up time. And it could get late early for Lincoln Riley because 2 out of their first 3 games, home against LSU, then they got to make a trip up to Ann Arbor in week 3 to take on the reigning champs in Michigan. So his offense is always sexy to watch. I think part of the reason why it is sexy to watch is because their defense is so bad that they got to go out there and continue to sling it time and time and time again, which leads to, 40 points a game and all these big-time plays from his playmakers and having guys like Caleb Williams and Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts go on to become high draft picks in the NFL. But I think to keep his job safe, he's got to show that he has a mind for defense and they can just offer up any type of resistance, Bake, because that's just something that he has not been able to do.
And listen, we've seen Ohio State go through this a little bit the past couple of years. Their recruiting was so good, but it was so offensive-based. Seems like wide receivers, quarterbacks, all of that. The last couple of years, Ohio State has put more of an emphasis, it seems like at least, on recruiting the defensive side of the ball. You can have all the wide receivers you want. That's great. You can have all the quarterbacks you want. That's great. But still, defenses win championships. That's just the way it is. And you're going to have to change that a little bit. Hopefully, DeAnton Lynn, the defensive coordinator there, can help him with that. USC is going to have to do a better job recruiting the defensive side of the football.
100%. And they lost some big-time recruits on defense this offseason as well. Some guys down in the trenches that were fairly high, that were rated fairly high as well. So, yeah, I think he's one of those head coaches around college football to where his seat is pretty warm going into the season.
It's tough for Miller Moss to sling it for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns when it's 30 degrees, snowing and blowing.
I can't wait to see how they handle that. Just the body clock, right? 9 a.m. body clock for them in some of these games, all the travel. I mean, the coast-to-coast map of the Big Ten is just crazy.
It just doesn't seem
It's
right.
just crazy, but you know that they were not going to pass up on that money. You get that L.A. market, that California market. It's too much money to be made.
Money talks.
Absolutely. It does every single time. It was a good day yesterday for Coach Diebler and his Buckeye basketball program on paper. It looks like that's carried over to today as well because you got another addition to the Buckeye basketball squad. We'll tell you who that is next. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter here for Affinity Whole Health, the leader in the testosterone and hormone replacement therapy game. And weight loss too, that's right. Affinity offers semaglutide injections for weight loss in addition to their testosterone treatments so you can lose weight and build muscle. They customize a plan directly for you. They added peptides to my TRT. They've added semaglutide with my friend's testosterone, and the results are amazing. They're pumped about summertime and pool season, so check them out at feelgreatcolumbus.com. That's feelgreatcolumbus.com.
As a local family-owned and operated company, Newman Roofing takes pride in providing a great customer experience and quality product to every job. From the first call to the final nail, you'll know how much we care. So call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit us online at newmanroofing.com.
This is the White Castle Call of the Crave, and it's telling you to come in now for 10 cheese sliders for just $7.99. 10 cheese sliders for just $7.99. Boom! White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only, tax not included.
The Columbus Men's Clinic opened in 2014 for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At the Columbus Men's Clinic, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for a decade. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. You'll be seen by our friendly, discreet physician who will take the time to listen. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. Imagine going from feeling gray to living life in vibrant color. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 614-300-7400 or go to columbusmensclinic.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. columbusmensclinic.com. Book your appointment now. We don't talk about politics on The Fan. Instead, we welcome Buckeyes fans, NFL fans, and anyone looking to escape the never-ending cycle of misery. You're safe here, friends. The Fan, home of the Buckeyes and Ohio's politics-free destination.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. Austin Ward here. Sick of that slice? Tired of those three putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with Awaken 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year one. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy, because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com.
Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy amongst your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken 180 is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist bumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend.
Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Feeling the heat? Call the experts at Logan Services now for hot deals on train systems, including 0% APR for 60 months.
All right, Bake, let's knock out a Buckeye Bulletin. Ryan Baker in the house today for AR if you're just now joining us. Yesterday, in the Buckeye basketball world, you added to the roster in the form of Quez Glover from Kansas State. Guy had some other stops around college basketball. Seasoned guy that they added to the backcourt yesterday. Had a really good stop at Samford as an offensive player. So we'll see what type of role he can carve out this season, and especially when you talk about, you know, you had the unfortunate injury to Chapman there, so you need a little bit more depth there at the guard position. Today, though, we find out that Coach Diebler and his staff added a big man to the mix, and it's Ivan Yagovin, I think is what we're going to go with right now out of the gate. We'll learn more about his last name and make sure we absolutely get that correct in the coming days and weeks. But Bake, he's a guy from Croatia. He played in the Croatian professional league over there. And you're talking about a 7'1" center coming in to provide more size, more length for the front court. And he's got 4 full years of eligibility coming up here in the Scarlet and Gray. So another big man addition this offseason.
Super exciting, I think, for the Buckeyes. One, this allows you to play more now, Aaron Bradshaw and Sean Stewart together, because you don't have to rely on just Austin Parks as your only big coming off the bench to help spell those guys, whether it be foul trouble or whatever it is. This kid has 4 full years of eligibility now. Played for KK Bosco in the Croatian League, averaged 8.2 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 1.6 blocks. A lot of people were worried about Felix Okparo. He's so good at blocking shots. Maybe Njoku can help with that as well, help the defense around the rim a little bit. Jake Diebler, and you know I'm nervous about him because he's never been a head coach anywhere else before. I'm nervous about first-time head coaches at Ohio State. But everything he has done since he has gotten the job has seemed to be a home run. And I am so excited to watch this team this year because I think they are going to be like the Rams of 2000. I think they're just going to be run and gun up and down the court, so athletic, and I am so excited to see what this Buckeye basketball team looks like this year.
I agree. I completely agree with you, and I think when you talk about the ball handling skills of Michi Johnson and Bruce Stewart and those guys having the ability to get the ball, push it down the court, right, and really play with a lot of pace. It was something that we saw last year when Coach Diebler took over for Coach Holtman. You could just feel it coming through the screen is the juice that the team had, and that just provides so much pressure, right, for an opposing defense. Grab the ball off the rim and go. Let's absolutely go and get after teams. So I like the collective talent that they put together right now on paper with these big men. I'm interested to see the styles of play that we do get from the big men. Who's going to be your consistent lob threat? Who's going to be maybe one of the bigs that can space the floor offensively? Do they have that in their bag? And so you could always have that vertical spacing with the lob threat that you have to absolutely respect as a defense. But I think with the stability that your guards are going to provide, that's going to get things in order a lot. And hopefully you talk about the potential that's there with Stewart and Bradshaw, where those guys were coming out of high school, but more importantly, where they were last year in college as two of the most historic basketball brands in the sport in Duke and Kentucky. Those guys have been in the lab. Can't wait to see what it looks like on the other side. So now that you got Ivan Njoku in the mix, maybe that'll take a little bit of time. But off the top, you got Stewart and Bradshaw that I think can lead the charge.
You talk about Njoku as well. 53.3% from the field last year. Not a lot. 5 of 16 from 3, but that's still 31%. If you could get a 7-footer that could shoot that, the ability to bring the big out, stretch the floor a little bit, that is huge.
And I think the last game he just played in, because he played at the U20 European Championships over there with Croatia, and his last game was against Bulgaria, and he dropped, and this was 9 days ago, he dropped 15 points, 16 rebounds, and 3 blocked shots.
Go ahead and cook, Ivan. I like it, so hopefully he will be doing that same type of cooking for the Scarlet and Gray sooner rather than later. Let's transition over to some Buckeye football conversation. Our guy Adam King from 10 TV looks like he had a chance to catch up with Julian Sayin, and here's Julian on the quarterback room and maybe a little bit of the development that's been going on.
Yeah, the quarterback room is really close. A lot of great guys in there, and then Coach Kelly in there coaching us. So it's been great, and it's been good times with the guys just learning and developing and taking tips from them, taking tricks from them. So it's been fun. Ready to develop, learn from Coach Day. You know, a great quarterback whisperer, and just really be a part of the guys, be a part of the group, and learn from the coaches, building confidence out there. We're going against best defense in the country every day in practice. So it's good just build your confidence when you're able to make plays on them.
I wonder if Coach Day sent Coach Saban an edible arrangement after the retirement and said, "Thank you, big dog," because we got Seth McLaughlin, we got Caleb Downs, and we got Julian Sayin. This guy and Julian Sayin, a lot of buzz around him, right? I mean, the quarterback room is stacked as far as what it's going to look like in the future. Now, how that unfolds, it's going to be very interesting to see, especially when you talk about Tavian St. Clair coming in. But this guy, Julian Sayin, I've heard Tom Luginbill talk about him from ESPN. He's a friend of the program. He thinks his ability to spin the rock the way that he can as a freshman, could have this guy maybe later in the year in the mix to be potentially the QB2 for Ohio State.
We have not seen this in recent history, and I think it's one of the things that you can be critical of Ryan Day for the most. But those first 3 games of the year, and I understand Will Howard is new to the program. I understand that Devin Brown doesn't have a lot of game tape out there. And that's the thing, one of the things you can be critical about Ryan Day for. Because there were games where we should have seen a lot more Devin Brown.
He's been hurt too, though.
You're right.
He's
but
been hurt.
Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall, right off the rip, if we don't see a lot of Julian Sayin in second halves of those games, it is a fail on this Ohio State football team and this program, because we have got to see what we have in these guys. We cannot have another game where your backup quarterback is totally unprepared.
You're talking the Missouri
to play.
game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we do not see a lot of Julian Sayin, if we don't see Lincoln Keenholz in those games, that is a big, big problem to me.
I'm so excited about this year, and I absolutely hear you, man. I'm so excited about this year, but I love when we turn the page and we have to try to figure out who's the next dude for the years to come. And I think next offseason, that's going to be so fun to discuss, because we haven't even mentioned Aaron Nolan's name, and that was a big-time recruit as well. And he is a good quarterback in his own right.
As accurate as they come and athletic as hell.
Right. So between Lincoln and Air and Julian and Tavion St. Clair, when we turn the page after this season, and hopefully it's a very successful one, that's going to be a fun offseason as well.
I don't think there's any guarantee that they're out of the mix for this year, quite frankly.
Well, you may be cooking something over there. You may be cooking something over there. That is today's Buckeye Bulletin. Coming up next, John Elway. We know the guy. If you're a football fan, you know him. One of the best to ever do it. He has one regret as a GM. And this is a very interesting talking point, and I'm glad that he was honest about that. You'll hear from him what that regret is, and Baker and I will go down the road of some of the biggest what-ifs in NFL draft history. We'll do it in the deep dive. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
We've all heard the horror stories. Someone knocking on your door, offering a free roof inspection. Sure, sounds great, right? Only for them to go up and damage your shingles, cause a mess, and try to push a new roof through your insurance. Rather than dealing with the headache of filing vandalism claims, call a company you can trust, Newman Roofing. For 32 years, Newman Roofing has built a reputation of honesty and integrity right here in Central Ohio. They will assess whether your roof has sustained damage from recent storms or if it still has some life left. There's never any pushy sales tactics. They'll educate you about your roof's condition and answer any questions, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. So, whether you need a roof replacement or a simple repair, call the most trusted roofing company in Central Ohio, Newman Roofing. Visit online at newmanroofing.com or call 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Hot under the collar? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix that fast. 1-800-COOLING.
Ah, the sounds of back to school time. There's plenty to about this time of year, so let Cane's take something off your plate by putting something on it, like hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What are your self-care non-negotiables? Sometimes it's hard to make time for the things that keep you healthy, but being consistent with self-care is like working a muscle. And when life gets crazy, that muscle keeps you strong. Therapy is the ultimate self-care, and BetterHelp makes it easy to get started with affordable online sessions so you can do it from anywhere. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Carlin today to get 10% off your first month.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac.
From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Apple.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Timmy Hall. I really don't know, but I just saw an awesome play in team handball at the Olympics. France beating Brazil. The women's side, 17-13. She caught it midair, just chucked it right into the net. Amazing. So much football is in the air. 2 days away. The ball is going to be booted in Canton. The new kickoff rules. I'm excited to see how that looks. It'll be the Bears and the Texans Thursday at 8 right here on The Fan after the Buckeye show. C.J. Stroud practicing today, but the status for the game is uncertain with his foot injury scare. Asked if C.J. will play, head coach D'Amico Ryan said, "We'll see." Little thing called You'll See. Baseball Guards in action versus the Tigers. Game 2 of the two-game mini set. Still scoreless after 3. Reds are hosting the Cubs at 7:10 tonight. This one's sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring, not sleeping, give Mark Levy a call, 1-800-MORE-SLEEP, or go online to sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and I feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Maxima Concrete. Visit MaximaConcrete.com today to schedule your free estimate.
All right, welcome back in. Matty Ice. Got my man Ryan Baker, the Bake Show, in the house filling in for AR today. CB's on the board doing his thing. Bottom of the hour. We'll talk to Jeff Ellis, Locked On Guardians. Speaking of the Guardians, they just got a 1-0 lead up in Detroit. Josh Naylor hits a dinger against a division rival. Where are you at with Detroit-style pizza? With what I believe is the sauce on top of the cheese, the pepperoni, and crust, or whatever your toppings are. I've never had it, so I can't really give a take on it, but is that something that works for you?
I'm okay with it. I'd prefer it to be underneath, but I love that, Detroit style deep dish.
Like the crust.
On there. Yeah. I love that. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, shout out to Jets Pizza. They'll cook up a nice little Detroit style, I believe, thick crust.
Sounds good right now.
It's real heavy, though.
It is, but it sounds good.
It sounds phenomenal. It does taste incredible. I can only get about a slice or two of that thing, and then, that's about
feeling thick.
All I got. Yeah. Feeling thick. That's absolutely right. So we'll have Jeff on at the bottom of the hour get his take on the trade they made yesterday and what's to come in the second half of the season.
Love that move for them.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm with you, man. Bringing in Lane Thomas there. So one of the best players in the league, as we know, is Josh Allen. And Josh Allen for the Bills, not Josh Hines Allen, who, by the way, changed his name for, down in Jacksonville for the Jaguars. But Josh Allen's been a dude for a few years now in the NFL. But I love, when some of these decision makers and GMs or presidents or whoever it may be, they're honest and open sometimes about some of the mistakes that they made. And CB's got some sound for us from John Elway talking about the decision or one of the decisions not to grab Josh Allen. Maybe there's a little bit of regret there.
How did you not get Josh Allen? I feel like he is exactly your type.
I know, he is. And believe me, last year I played with him, and I'm wondering, how long is it going to take him to realize that I passed on him and took Bradley and Chubb instead?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it took him 2.5 holes to bring it up. And I loved him, right?
Yeah.
But it just,
he was your type.
He was my type, and you're right. That was probably my biggest mistake of my GM days, was not taking Josh.
So to go back to that draft, for those that need a bit of a refresher, the 1-1 in that draft was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield selected by CB's Cleveland Brownies, your Cleveland Brownies as well, which is it's an odd dynamic because you're a Reds fan and a Browns fan. How did we get there?
I mean, it really isn't that odd of a dynamic. There's a lot of people in Central Ohio that are like that. We've talked about this the past couple of weeks on the station on other shows. So when people that would have been my grandfather's age, a lot of them were Reds fans because Cincinnati was closer than Cleveland, but there was no Bengals at the time. So if you wanted to root for an Ohio team, you had to root for the Cleveland Browns. So then the Bengals came around. So a lot of people that my grandfather's age were Browns fans and Reds fans. They passed that down to their sons, which was passed down to my father and then passed down to me.
Okay. That clarifies things a little bit for me. Just a little bit there. But going back to that 2018 draft, your first 4 picks off the board. Baker Mayfield at 1, Saquon Barkley at 2, Sam Darnold at 3, and then the former Buckeye and Denzel Ward at 4, who is still cranking out some good football up there at the Muni lot. So then at 5, you did have the Denver Broncos on the board. And you just heard from John Elway. He went with Bradley Chubb at the time. Followed up by the Colts at 6 with Quentin Nelson, and then the Buffalo Bills were on the board at 7. I remember the conversation about Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming. Dude was raw, right? The physical traits were absolutely touched by the hand of God.
Not very accurate.
Not very accurate, and some of those things still remain with Josh Allen.
Had he played anyone?
Exactly. All of that. So this wasn't this home run, slam dunk, can't miss type of prospect, but you just get tantalized, and the traits are so seductive with some of these guys that you don't want to pass up on them, especially when you have confidence within your own building, that we have the coaching staff to fine-tune it. More importantly, maybe even the players around him that could help him get it going early. But that was interesting sound right there from John Elway that, and obviously, I'm sure there's a couple teams in there that may regret. I'm sure the Jets are in that same boat. I mean, think about where they are mentally having to see Josh Allen twice a year. Now that when they went with Sam Darnold over Josh Allen.
If you're all those teams, you could have took Lamar, who went 32nd in that draft. He was the best quarterback out of all of them so far. If you're the Browns, there was a lot of talk for a long time that the Browns were going to draft Josh Allen at number 1. Yeah, so there's all kinds from that draft alone, all kinds of second guessing and questioning. Now, if you're John Elway, if you remember correctly, I believe that year in free agency, they had just signed Case Keenum, who had come off of a good year with the Minnesota Vikings. The year before, in the first round, they had drafted Paxton Lynch, who people thought it was kind of like Josh Allen, a big, strong-armed, raw, maybe hadn't played the best talent quarterback. So you had Paxton Lynch there already. So you could kind of understand why John Elway didn't go there.
100%. I completely understand that. I appreciate his transparency. I'll tell you about one regret I'm having as a Ravens fan in that same draft is that we went with Hayden Hurst over Calvin Ridley. And for a franchise that has not been able to draft wide receivers very well, that's one that's haunting me. And I know Calvin Ridley, his peak at Atlanta, we haven't really seen that. Right? Over the last couple of years, the dude had to sit down for an entire year because of the gambling situation. Then last year in Jacksonville was just okay. But that's one for me that haunts me. Now, you're right. The big picture in that draft is us trading back into the first round and drafting a 2-time MVP at the most important position. But that pairing, I think, right out of the gate would have been fun because we already had Mark Andrews in the mix. And so you could have paired him with Calvin Ridley and Lamar, and I think our offense would have been probably even better than the way it's looked the last few years, which is still pretty darn good. You got any what-ifs for you from, drafts in the past that jump out to you as, ooh, that could have been fun if they would have went another way?
I think the one that I will always think about was what if the Browns had drafted Ben Roethlisberger? That's one that, because Ben Roethlisberger is someone who haunted the Browns for years. Someone that the Browns could have taken, and they just passed on him. And it's always like, what would have happened if the Browns had taken Big Ben? So that year, the Browns drafted Kellen Winslow with the 6th pick. The Steelers took Ben Roethlisberger with the 11th pick. And that's always one that's just like, man, Ohio guy, he tortured you for years.
Turned into a dude. He turned into an absolute dude. Like, I know the last few years of Big Ben's career, the superpowers were stripped away. His body was beat up. He couldn't move anywhere. But when Big Ben was at his peak, it wasn't, and obviously the dude had a cannon of an arm, but he just had this ability to be in the pocket and not really be mobile, but like shrug guys off all the time. It just seemed like he was one of the hardest dudes to tackle at the quarterback position that wasn't cut from a cloth of a, Josh Allen or a Kyler Murray or one of those guys. And they were a terrifying unit to go after or to deal with when you talk about those playmakers that were under Mike Tomlin's watch and attached to Big Ben, because for the longest amount of time, man, their offense was just cooking with hot grease.
And we talk about that 2018 draft with the Browns. What could have happened if they took one of the other quarterbacks, if they took a Lamar or if they took a Josh Allen instead of Baker Mayfield? And Baker was the guy at number 1 that year. I thought he was the best. And I think Baker's still a decent NFL quarterback, but I don't think he's Josh Allen. He's definitely not Lamar. What could have happened there?
Yeah, I think I'll hit you with one. And the Bears, I think, feel good about where they are right now. I think with the future that they believe they have in front of them, the runway that they've created with Caleb Williams and what he looks like he can be as a dynamic quarterback and just dancing around and just making defenders look foolish, but more importantly, getting the ball to his playmakers. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. But going back to 2017, they were second on the board. First on the board, your Brownies. They took Myles Garrett, a Hall of Fame player. He's on the Hall of Fame highway coming off a Defensive Player of the Year award. No issue there whatsoever. But the Chicago Bears, and I remember just the debates about Mitchell Trubisky. The dude's had like 13 to 15 starts at North Carolina, but he was one of those guys that was kind of like Josh Allen, to where the traits were seductive and you just didn't want to pass up on this guy that's got the body, he's got the athletic ability, he's got a good arm. You don't want to pass up on that. But sitting in the 10 hole there, the first round, is one of the best to ever do it. And it's Patrick Mahomes. And I would love to ask whoever the decision makers were at the time how close that was in their minds, because that to me has to be one of the biggest regrets. It's not only passing up on a guy that turned out to be good, but passing up on a guy that potentially could be the best to ever do it. I think those debates are it's way too early for that. I know people are all in with that. I mean, he's still got to catch Brady. We're 4 rings away from Tom Brady. Like, we got so much work to do there for Patrick Mahomes, but he's off to a phenomenal start. No denying that whatsoever. But that to me might be my number one, is the Chicago Bears taking Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick freaking Mahomes.
And that's another one where I don't think anybody would complain for the Browns that you got Myles Garrett number 1. But man, wouldn't you like to have Patrick Mahomes instead?
Yeah.
That was even one where that was the Deshaun Watson draft as well, that the Browns, passed on him there.
Mm-hmm.
Myles Garrett, fine player. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. But I think maybe you'd be better off with Patrick Mahomes, possibly.
I mean, I think we're splitting hairs. But your point is we're talking about the most important position.
Absolutely.
And so that is probably always going to be the trump card, no doubt about it.
How about these two real quick?
Yeah, we got.
But then this one worked out for both teams. But in 2021, I wonder what if the Bengals had taken Penei Sewell instead of Jamar Chase. Now, it's worked out for both teams,
really
obviously.
has.
But I wonder what would be the history of both teams if it had been flipped, if the Bengals had taken Penei Sewell. And then 1 year before, how about the Philadelphia Eagles? You're sitting there at number 21. You take Jalen Reagor. And then the Minnesota Vikings right behind you take Justin Jefferson.
That is tough.
Woof.
That's tough. That is bad. Real quick, going back to Penei Sewell, AR and I debated that days on end. And you could have talked me into both sides. But I was dug in the camp of you got to keep number 9 healthy. Remember, we were coming off that very tough injury for Joey B as well. So I was all in on keep him upright. With his ability, he'll be able to support whatever playmakers you can find later on in the draft or in drafts to come or free agency or whatever it was. But you're right, because both teams won. Penei Sewell, he just signed a massive deal to be their right tackle of the future, and he'll probably slide over to left tackle whenever Taylor Decker decides to hang it up. But that doesn't look like it's coming anytime soon because Deck just signed a new deal. But it would have been interesting to see where those franchises were, but everybody's good now. Lions and the Bengals, are in great spots.
And I was on your side in that. I would have taken the tackle too, but I remember it vividly, James on these airways saying, we never game planned for a left tackle.
I know. But if it wasn't for the injury, I would have been all in the Chase camp. But because of the injury, I was like, we got to keep him upright, man. You got to keep him upright. It's been the off season, I should say, of Jordan Love hype. That has not stopped at all. Ryan Clark from ESPN, he hit us with a pretty spicy take about what could be coming next for the Packers because of Jordan Love. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Know how. Know now. Be in the know now with the free 10 TV app. News now. Weather now. Traffic right now. Alerts before you know and go. Breaking news, community events, your favorite teams, and their live scores. Anything you want to know now. Now you know how to know everything right now. And we love knowing you know. Stay in the know with the 10 TV app. Download it for free right now.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. I was in my Lexus the other day. It was hot as hell, but I was so thankful for my ventilated seats. I'm not saying that's why you should buy one. It's just very nice. Right now at Jermaine Lexus, it's the Golden Opportunity Sales Event with lease payments as low as $499 a month and 3.99% financing on select models. Get this, the RZ is 0%. I have been a Jermaine customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Jermaine Lexus, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
Here's a quick listening guide. When something's on The Fan, it's on the station you're listening to right now. If I say something's on ESPN Columbus, it's on 1460 AM and The Fan's HD2. When in doubt, stream it on The Fan app. Thank you.